So emotional knowing, is it connected to this?
Oh yeah, no. Emotional knowing is, to me, that sounds like a very good phrase to help people to get into being able to make decisions and know the world and through their feeling structure, through energy, rather than through the logic. Yeah. No, so
this is a way also to exercise as to strengthen your emotional knowing.
Yes, and maybe another way of approaching this, is to say, well, what can we do to start exercising this when we're still on the way, we're still learning how to engage, and one thing is to see that everything responds energetically according to its degree of alignment to divine truth and oneness. When things are in alignment, we know that energy spins clockwise, and when things are out of alignment, energy spins counterclockwise. In our energy bodies, when we contemplate an idea, even an idea that's in alignment, well then energy spins clockwise. When we contemplate an idea that's out of alignment, there's something wrong or contradictory to it. Somewhere energy is spinning counterclockwise, and you can feel it.
And you can feel that it doesn't feel right.
You can feel it doesn't feel right. You can call it emotion, call it feeling, but you know that in your energy body, you can feel the resistance. It doesn't fit. So one thing to do is to begin to change your patterns of solving problems or making decisions. That when you have a problem to solve, you have a decision to make. Instead of thinking your way through it, you say, I'm just going to feel it. Let's feel. What are my options? Option A, what does that feel like? Option B, what does that feel like? Option C, oh, well, now the energy is moving there. Clearly, I can feel that there's more energy in option C. Okay, and then you can move with that. That energy is always giving you the answer. It's there all the time. Your own energy body is trying to tell you, what's in alignment and what's not. If we just listen to ourselves.
But I guess if you haven't exercised this, it's also a matter of to really feel what feels right for you and what's wrong for you in the beginning.
Yeah, and it gets a little complicated because we can ask questions that don't have a clear answer. We could ask questions that engage some of our own internal contradictions, and then you don't get clear answers from that. So it's a challenge to also find the questions that produce clear answers. You say, oh yeah, when I ask the right question and I get a clear answer, I know I'm on track. Yeah.
And usually I think that more than half the job is to come up with a clear question.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Let's put some time to figure out the good question, clear question for you.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine what happens in some sort of an organization if they had a critical decision to all form in a circle and everybody together to put their capacities together to consider individual solutions and for all of them to work together to feel the energy of what those different alternatives would produce. Yeah.
And also have the same understanding of that question.
Yeah.
Because usually there are different perspectives and people have different questions.
Right.
And then there are a lot of arguments about who's right, who's wrong, because they solve different questions.
Yeah. Well, in that sense too, it would be really good for people to have the experience of sitting in circle and following the rules of discussion and decision making in a circle to develop skills for finding your harmony in those situations.
Yes, and when they don't consider what kind of status you have, or how much money you earn, or who screams most, or something like that.
Yeah. No, all those things where people create false separations, those get in the way, of course. But then what we're talking about is evolving to a place where instead of being data driven, we're feeling driven. Coming to a place where whatever the data says, that's fine. But ultimately, we all have to feel right about what it is that we're deciding to do. And the data analysis is fine for what it is, but maybe it didn't really answer the right question.
I know, and there's so much training about how to become a data-driven company, and how you can be skillful in analyzing data.
Yeah.
But there are very little training in emotional knowing and how you can share those skills and knowledge, wisdom from your emotions with each other.
Yeah. I think if you get a lot of data and you look at it and it scares you, you should be thinking twice.
Absolutely. I think we could talk for hours about emotional knowing. More specific. How do you know that you have it, for instance? You see what I mean? Or so you don't, because sometimes you can mix up your feelings with your old behavior, and you think this is right, but maybe that's not your right answer. Because
I think one more important thing about developing your emotional knowing is to practice it all the time, to not just keep it for one domain of your life. So, for instance, I can imagine an exercise where go into a bookstore and ask to be led to a book that would be meaningful for you.
Yeah, that's a good exercise.
Right. And so what do? You have to say, well, am I going to go left or right or straight? Which one feels the best? Oh yeah, practice going straight. Is it this row? Or it's the next row, whatever it is, it's the next row. To feel, one exercise I've asked people to practice, just to get them into this sometimes, is to say, if you have time, when you're in the city, just start someplace on some corner and say, where's the most beneficial direction for me? What direction do I go? What feels most beneficial? That feels go. Go to the next corner. What feels most beneficial? Go. This is how I have in the past navigated through the forest. To go into a forest to find the most beneficial place for yourself is to just keep asking the question until you find it, and then you're learning that process of the feeling. It's not a hyper rational question. How are you going to reason out what direction is my most beneficial direction? That you can't use your logic for that. It's going north or south better in this particular street. Your logic has to be set aside, and then you find that I think that level of feeling, you discover it's much easier than you thought. That this was actually part of being a human being in earlier times. That we all relied on our internal understanding. We all relied on emotional knowing, and that when we learn to engage it again, we become much more whole as human beings. We become something that has a connection to the ancient people we used to be. We bring back our ancient skills to us as modern people, to say that we're not whole until we bring it all back.
Maybe it's also a way to feel more trust.
Yes, yeah.
In our, wherever we are, that we feel more trust and feel safe.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Yes, it's been really, really nice. You know, you bring out the best in everybody around you. Yes.
Thank you.